Social media has been a blessing and a curse. It connects people from all around the world, lets you learn just about anything you can think of. And one of the good things about it for hunting and fishing is that for a lot of new hunters out there, it allows those who do not have mentors somebody to learn from. But it's also got a lot of bad things about it, like making everybody insane and subjecting us to some of the dumbest people and their trends. And the hunting industry is definitely not safe from it. I would say that there has been a lot of damage done from social media. So I thought it would be a good idea to remind everyone or introduce them to some of the responsibilities they have as hunters. And don't worry, I'm not just going to lecture you, and I'm not going to just read directly from the Sand County Almanac. And if you don't know what that is, then you probably haven't watched very much Meat Eater. But before we go over some of these hunting ethics, do me a favor, and if this is your first time on my channel, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you click that bell icon so you can be notified every time I upload a video. And the first and one of the most important responsibilities you have as a hunter is you need to be able to take the most effective, ethical, and safe shot you can possibly take. I'm sure we've all seen those posts on social media where they'll show a deer in some various position and ask you which spots you would aim for. And I am shocked at how many of the answers is to aim for the head. And I'm going to give you a hint. Almost never should you aim for the head. Headshots in almost every scenario you can think of are unnecessary. You are not going to waste meat by aiming at the spot you should, which is for a double lung shot. A headshot, it's a much smaller target. You are more likely to miss. So if you're really worried about that, just think of it that way. You have a much better shot of aiming for the vitals. And a double lung shot is what you should always strive for. Now, I do think those posts on social media do have some value for it. A lot of times there's different spots that you're asked which one you would aim for. And again, a lot of the answers that say headshots, I just ignore. But a lot of people miss the fact that it's not where your arrow or your bullet hits per se. It's more about where it exits. So you got to think about that entire path through that deer. And a lot of the shots people pick out, you would maybe clip the front lung, and most likely you would either hit a liver or gut shot coming out the other side. And that is definitely not what you want to do. So practice at these different angles, because your shot placement is going to change depending on the angle of the deer. And there are definitely angles that you should never take a shot. Just thinking about how that round or arrow is going to pass through the deer is going to eliminate some of these shots that some people say they might take. And there is one that I don't know if it's really a joke, if people really take these shots, but the Texas heart shot, and if you don't know what that is, basically picture the deer facing away from you and you're aiming for this little spot right on its ass. You definitely do not take that shot. That is one of the worst decisions you can ever make. If you've never smelt what a gut shot deer smells like, you'll never want to smell it again. And just a quick note on safety, you have to know what is behind that deer that you're shooting at. Don't shoot at a deer that's skylined. Don't shoot if you know there are houses behind that deer. Don't shoot if there's another deer behind the deer you're shooting. Just think about what's behind your target. It's basic shooter safety, but it's always good to remind you. And the second thing that you absolutely need to keep in mind, it's what social media has probably done the most damage, is you need to make sure that you are treating that animal with the utmost respect. Most of us do not have a problem with this. However, there is a giant uptick of this kind of behavior on Instagram. There are tons of examples on Instagram where people are posing naked with their deer or turkey, geese, ducks, or whatever else you might hunt. You have people who are acting like they're bird dogs, holding their ducks in their mouths. Huntresses that are starving for attention will be wearing them as bras. The list of idiotic behavior goes on and on and on. There are a couple of Instagram accounts that are calling attention to this type of behavior and rightfully calling out those people who are, committing this type of behavior. Look up Making Hunting Great Again, Hunt Domain, and Copper Plated Sixes. This is literally the only reason I get on Instagram anymore. Not only do these animals deserve to be treated with as much respect as you can give them, you have to remember that what you post online could potentially damage the average hunter's reputation and be used by anti-hunters to sway public opinion. Do yourself and your fellow hunters a favor and don't post that crap. I'm not talking about your good grip and grim photos. Definitely post those. You should be proud of the work you put in. Just treat that animal with as much respect as you can. When it comes time that something gets put on a ballot that's hunting related, those types of posts are going to drag us all through the mud. And the average voter is not informed about anything wildlife related, and they will vote based on their emotions. And the third piece of hunter ethics advice is to treat your fellow hunters with respect. Now, I'm not talking about some like lovey-dovey, kumbaya, never say anything mean to each other kind of crap. If you get upset about what somebody says to you online, you need to grow some thicker skin. What I'm talking about is purposefully ruining each other's hunts, stealing, and tampering with other people's tree stands, anything like that. I hear all the time about, somebody stole somebody's game camera, noticed somebody set up a tree stand in their spot on public land, so they go over there and they like take the steps or mess with their tree stand in some way. Or you even got people who knowingly brag about trespassing on somebody else's property. Even if you have spent all summer scouting this particular piece of public ground and you get there to hunt it and somebody else is already there, you do not have the right to set up right next to them to hunt or tamper with their property in any way. You either need to get there earlier or find another place to hunt. Do not touch somebody else's things or step foot on someone else's property without their permission. I know this is like elementary school type stuff, but either some people were out on that day or they're just too dense to comprehend it. So if you're thinking about doing something, just ask yourself a very simple question. Would this piss me off if somebody else did it to me? And if the answer is yes, just don't do it. It's a very simple concept. And as a last minute hunter ethic thing that I just thought of while I was doing this, one thing that it's a terrible idea, it says to me that you are not good at hunting whatsoever, is road hunting. If you think you need to just drive around on gravel roads, look for deer in somebody else's fields and shoot them, and that's how you get your deer, I think you should just give up the sport altogether and take up knitting or something. So that was 3 things that you either should or shouldn't do to be an ethical hunter. If you have any more hunter ethics, any more tips like that you'd like to share, make sure you leave those down in the comments below. Hit that like button if you like this video, share it if you found it helpful, and make sure that you are subscribed so you can stay informed.